that on my face. So, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2. My name of my blog. Uh, my name is Demon Slayer 2199, and this is my second episode of my video blog. I am trying to, like before, keep it under 30 minutes. Um, so currently, I'm just giving myself some points, trying to stay on topic, uh, focused. Um, I don't want to put it on my ears because it's just gonna make me deaf, and I can't really hear myself think and speak at the same time. So I'm just holding my headset. uh, I need to figure out how to listen. Anyway, to stay on point, I was talking about before about making plans and uh, focusing on the future and whatnot. And I just want to start this second episode to focus in on uh, where all this came about. The general idea of why I'm pursuing this path of uh, I guess being an entrepreneur, or would like to, uh, entrepreneur, futurist, um, idea man. I never did like the label as to be labeled as a dreamer. Um, Dreamers, don't really get anything done or plan anything out beyond um, dreaming. So yeah, there's that. Uh, so anyway, so the bullet points. Let's go with the bullet points. Where it all began, my, my concept or idea that I wanted to start off with, which later I found out is not a good starting point because it's like starting up. I was trying to stay in frame. Way up high, and I was down here. So when I first started, I was came up with the idea. I was 12 years old. That's what I remember. I think it was definitely towards the end of elementary school, um, and sometime in middle school. I thought it up, um, but I swear it was definitely when I was going to school in middle school, because it was Carroll Middle School I went to. It was very interesting. Um, it was that year. I guess it was sixth or seventh grade at the time. But I still need to work on my camera skills. Trying to. Anyway, um, so at that age, I was really interested in focusing on the sciences. Um, Let me get that autofocus function off. I was definitely focused on the different sciences, and I've always wanted to be a scientist. I always wanted to create things. I've always had that desire, that draw, um, about learning about everything that there is to know. I mean, um, reading textbooks as what normal people would read, like novels and stuff. I'd read textbooks, and I mean that's normal for some, I suppose, right? Anyways, so at that age, I was watching a lot of cartoons and little more advanced cartoons, going into the anime realm, um, starting that whole otaku situation as a child without all the expensive spending uh, that goes along with that. Buying all the things. Um, the major one, the anime that drew me in originally, was when I was watching Toonami, uh, and Gundam Wing would come on. I think it was after school. It was definitely either on the weekend or after school, late at night, because it was one of those late night Toonami things, and I like that just after school Toonami thing. So it was very interesting. Um, so I started to watch this anime, and I was definitely interested in not just the story of the anime, but the main thing that drew me into anime, or this one in particular, and the many more that came along, was uh, these people living their daily lives with these mobile suits, these freaking giant freaking machines that did did all these fabulous things. Hold up, pausing, pausing, about to choke on myself. Hold up, why do you pause? Oh, the pause button disappeared. Oh no. Okay, um, I'm back. Um, so, all right, got my water. So, okay, let's get this rolling. So kind of lost my train of thought. So these people are living in this situation, this day to day. They everything industrial was with these things and these mobile suits that allowed them to do these great things, these wonderful things, and uh, it just got me thinking like how come we don't have those things nowadays, and how come we don't explore such mobility and such advanced technology, you know, because it was pretty advanced back in, I don't know, back in, what was it, late 90s. Toonami was cranking those suckers out, but yeah, I it was daily. I would think about it. I would watch all the shows. I would see how they move. I would see how they functioned. I mean, they had all these different capabilities, and being able to go out into space and be able to go into the ocean and do pretty much. It was between what was it, a jet fighter, a land cruiser, and uh, like a utility vehicle. It did everything, an earth mover. I mean, it was just all these things wrapped into one. It was just like a giant humanoid that had all this function, which was pretty epic. I mean, even now, I mean, we're still mesmerized by the sheer size and functionality and just the design. It, I don't know, just geeking out a little bit. But as a kid, I wanted to make it real. I wanted to make one that was functioning, and I was trying to wrap my head around how something like that would work. And um, and it was just like constant. Like I would watch the shows. I would watch the shows, and it was just like, I mean, the majority of it was hydraulics. Like it was like what the hell, like that's some advanced hydraulics in it. And from what I was gathering, with normal knowledge, it was just like without fully researching it, hydraulics was. I mean, it was just a one and go, depending on any direction, and it required a particular type of force, and it was just you couldn't do what they did in the show. I mean, okay, so the closest thing that was modern to this day that shows what an actual mobile suit would be was Pacific Rim. Um, and I was very unhappy with that whole situation because Pacific Rim, it it required two people to pilot it. Come on, like seriously, really, seriously, like it's gonna fuck up your brain. I mean, like come on, man. Like 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 how? I don't see that happening. Um, unless you're just like putting all kinds of I don't know chemical strain on it. I don't see how um, being able to pilot a suit. I mean I mean okay, so there could be a lot of things pre-programmed and like that was a designing flaw. Pacific Rim, plain and simple. Um, but yeah, a lot of that stuff could have functionality wise could have been put on something else. Um, that really pissed me off though. Uh, so yeah, off topic. So Gundam Wing had an amazing idea, um, and it just got me thinking. Okay, well, I was trying to do all the thoughts about what I wanted it to do, where I wanted it to go, the movement, you know, what 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 moves this thing, and originally this is pretty much what I thought. It was just like uh, what was it, cables, hydraulics, and as time went on, I started to put in pneumatics because um, what was it? Tony Stark's original Iron Man suit in the new MCU was somewhat used with some of the function. It was pneumatic in some components, and some of it was cable and pulley, and a couple little bits were hydraulic. So I was a little bit influenced by Tony Stark and his bodysuit, and I was just like, well, I didn't want anything that complex to start off with right out the gate, because it's easier to design something larger and to be able to walk into something um, than to just make everything all microscopic, like like how we do with computers nowadays. You gotta start big and then work your way small, and more detailed, and you know create the science and the machines to make all the little ittle bits. You know, let the engineering catch up to your ideas. So so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a way to just like incorporate all of them together somehow. And later, I did come up with a way, but it was highly um, there would be a lot more wear and tear than one would expect or one would want, because it was a mixture between a hydraulic system that was moved by a pneumatic system um, that also had the strengthening of a cable system. And it it was it was great in theory. I don't know if it's still viable, but that's not the avenue that I'm currently pursuing. Um, but we're currently talking about the beginning of everything. So that's where I'm at right now. Um, so movement. That was just like boom, bare bones. This is what I know, and this is what I'm able to do right now as far as designing something with moving components. That was it, you know. And I was trying to develop something greater and better than what we have. Um, and you just gotta just brainstorm and brainstorm, and then figure out how to break it. And don't think that you can't break it, because everything breaks. So you have to think about, okay, well, you're thinking about putting this, and for movement in your legs and arms, right, in this mobile suit. Well, you gotta think about all the wear and tear on all those parts and components just rubbing on each other and all that fun stuff. And you're like, oh yes, and we need lubricants or some type of sheathing or something, And you're just like, okay, well that's gonna fail because you got all this freaking metal wire inside all the sheathing and all the weight. The weight was a big problem. Oh my god. So yeah. So you were like, okay, well, we have all this weight. How we're gonna move it? So so you needed something, as far as creating something that would have the energy, to create the output to make all this stuff move. So yeah. So I was like, well, there was another couple of mobile suit anime, a couple ideas, and they were all like, okay, so you're the bad guys had all the junky mobile suits, right? So I was like, okay, well we'll design it with the low end stuff, where we start, something now, tech now. You got to think about tech now instead of tech future. Tech future comes, you got to build up, just like Tony. So what you do is, okay, so gasoline's cheaper than in the short run, um, to start off with. And then you're like, okay, well, all the baddies, like they were shaken, they were violently shaking compared to a few of the designs that I started to come up with afterwards. Really shaky. So I was like, well, maybe we can get a couple of stabilizers, something that'll trim it out, right? And then I'm just like, okay, well, planes and it's like a prop plane, even with the engine, whether it's circular engine and and then how it worked. I looked into that type of design for a combustion engine. Um, I didn't want to use. I looked into a jet turbine because there was one anime that was like, well, no, it wasn't an anime. It was crap, not World of Warcraft. It was the other one, StarCraft. StarCraft had came out with, it was the original StarCraft, but they had the expansion pack, and one of their Space Marines was being fitted for a suit. So when he was suiting up, there was uh, like a jet turbine on the back, and I was just like, that might work. And yeah, I was thinking about it, but then it was just like the amount of intake and the exhaust and all that stuff. I mean, I was thinking, well, if it was out in the ocean or in space, um, plus they weren't also good on the vibration side of things, which is key. I want to keep the vibration down, um, not just for like stealth missions, if stealth was a thing, or if you're in a neighborhood that requires some kind of silence. You know, I just feel that the, the aesthetic, not the aesthetic. What is it? What's a good word? Um, I just feel that it would cut down on wear and tear, and it would also, if you have any other instruments in this mobile suit, it won't interfere as far as that is concerned. Okay, so roundabout what I came up with, which was already designed. It's been out for a while. I don't really don't know the specific amount of time, but um, I came into the idea. It's funny how when you live life, um, watching TV and commercials. Yeah. It wasn't originally the idea, but I kept thinking about it, and my brother and his friends and so on and so forth. I, they kept talking about it, and I wasn't really listening to them. And one day, um, uh, what was it? It wasn't even really a test drive. A friend had a what is it? One of those Mazdas with the rotary engine in them. And apparently, when they had a automatic transmission and it was shifting, I mean, it really was. You couldn't feel it. I mean, it was just non-existent. So yeah, it was one of the main ideas. So so yeah, a rotary engine, which I still believe is like one of like the better engines, because the the amount of vibration is like non-existent. Uh, yeah, and so I watched the you can't watch a magazine. Yeah. Anyways, so I was reading a magazine and they were talking about newer rotary engines that are coming out, um, and they are insane, insane. Uh, so they come in all different sizes as far as how many pistons and all that fun stuff, and but yeah, so you wouldn't use this rotary engine as far as just like a what was it? What was it? You wouldn't use it as you were to use it in a car where you're using the power of the rotation to drive a transmission, and that transmission converts it into wheel power by turning your drive shaft. No. You would use the rotary engine as a generator to power, um, well, to recharge batteries that drive the electric motors, or the motors of your mobile suit. Um, Pretty much like if you ever mess around with an electric forklift, uh, they just have a giant battery and you plug them in at the end of the day or whatever. But most of their hydraulics are ran by electric motors. Um, you know, Everything else is ran by the electric, the battery. So so yeah, that that's a good starting point. Like, boom, yeah, like all right. So I was online trying to buy a rotary engine, and I couldn't get my hands on one. Like, it was like non-existent for the time. Like when I was younger. I haven't recently because life is what it is. As far as getting things and planning things out. So I continued on designing things. Uh, what was it? so I was just like, okay, well, let's focus in on, what the cockpit, and how that's gonna work, and so on and so forth. And you know, you at being one person, you only can come up with so much, but you always try to think around the box, in the box, outside the box, on top of the box, bottom of the box, you know. Then you try to run around the box, and then you try to leave the box, and go away, and think about something else, and then come back to it, and you're just like, yeah, cockpit. Like, all right, let's start from the bottom and work our way up, because what does a cockpit entail? Like, what certain things do you need? What things do you want to have in it? What kind of things don't you want in it? And as technology grew, I mean, this is before all this gesture technology came out, like exploded. You I think the only thing close to the gesture technology that came out was with the Xbox. Hello. All right. So technical difficulties. All right. So a lot of the technologies that came out would have been. Ball again. Sorry, trying to get my screen back up. Hey, I'm back up. All right. So, I think I gotta slap that camera around every once in a while so I can um, stay recording. Let's refocus. Okay, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. So I don't know where it cut off at. Hmm. But yeah, that's where the technology was. Oh, refocus. Uh, which was uh, just a gesture, like gestures, and being able to recognize particular movements and gestures and stuff like that. To as far as input uh, for any anything inside the cockpit. But then you would have to figure out, like, okay, so you're gonna have this dude inside a room inside this machine doing all these things, right? Um, so so if he's running, like he's gonna be bouncing everywhere. or if he's jumping, is so it's either gonna be, dude's gonna be harnessed up in some rig, or is he gonna be attached to something on a spike, and just floating there, kind of like freaking Pacific Rim. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, so you come up, whew, you come up with all these ideas, and and all these possibilities, um, about what situation um, your pilot is gonna be in. Well, so and what kind of situations do you want them to be in? Uh, you know, submerged underwater, you know, under lava, in space, in a black hole. Come on, just you gotta think about all this stuff and what kind of situations they might be in. So you think about all the things that they would have in the cockpit that is accessible to them for any situation. Well, for most situations um, that they might get into, and is that uh, is that cockpit interchangeable with other things? Like, what, like, let's say, okay, the people that have this mobile suit, are they in a garage and each pilot has their own, uh, what is it, insert, their own cockpit to insert into this thing with all their accoutrements, inside of it. So, so I mean, there's just a lot of things to think about. Um, there are there's a freaking technology group that has a cerebral harness, which is pretty cool. They hold up, I gotta find their name. Um, Mulligan, but what was it? Uh, cerebral. No, not that one. No, come on. Misspelling everything. Uh, somewhere. Okay, so it's not important because I am getting to the 30-minute mark. So this cerebral harness, once I figure out, I'll put it in some kind of link to it. To the company, so y'all could look at it. But so I always wondered why people in mobile suits would always wear what they wear, and so inside the helmet, um, it protects you, and this harness would also be in it, um, also taking down a lot of your cerebral quirks, uh, and imaging, as far as inputting in. So as far as being giving input into the device and the machine and so on and so forth. Um, but with that cerebral harness, each person needs to learn. Um, they were showing a TED talk about it. Like there's a whole tutorial for the program, so you would learn the program, and also it learns from you. Like it maps your brain, and what was it? It maps your brain. So essentially, you are a particular user with this harness, and um, you are learning how to essentially pilot, um, creating functions that are specific to you and your mapped brain. And so, I mean, it coincides with a lot of the anime where a lot of these pilots have to go through this training of um, being able to sync up with their mobile suit, whether if it's an organic mobile suit or their partner or whatever, they still have to sync up and be able to have that key component to work the mobile suit. So I kind of figured that that harness would be like your key uh, to operate the mobile suit. Um, it would have all your data stored, not necessarily in the helmet, but in a driver of some sort. I mean, considering that they're coming out with freaking flash drives that are like the size of a terabit. Eventually, one of these suckers um, that are going to be the size of a couple of terabytes. So I figure a key of some sort, kind of like Voltron maybe. Oh golly, I'll bring it back. So yeah, um, so a key of some sort to use um, with all your information of being a pilot and all the hours that you've spent um, and all the functionality that you're inputting into the device. And so, I mean, the machine itself would interpret it because it knows what you're trying to do, and you have that um, personal key. Um, I don't know. So yeah, um, but yeah, it was getting into different components of how this mobile suit moves and how it functions. And another thing was being able to see inside the suit and what kind of display systems that would be inside, and figuring out uh, wiring and connections. And it's just like uh, I I wanted to be simple, but not too complicated, and nothing uh, that required too much wireless. I didn't want everything to be wireless. That was not the original plan. But I was thinking about it just now. It's just like I I wanted it to be durable and not because my biggest thing is always have some kind of manual override, some kind of like if everything went to crap, some kind of backup of some sort. So if there was some type of analog system or hardline system, it would definitely be in place if everything wanted to go lightweight and wireless. Um, so if a hack went down in the system, I mean you would hopefully not have the protection not to get hacked. But if it did go down and the whole system shut down, there would be a manual override of some sort. Um, but yeah, that's I'm at the 32-minute mark, and I want to call it episode two. I think okay. I feel good about this one, even though we're still having some technical difficulties with the camera. Um, I still got to figure it out. Um, but yeah, I'm really even though this is the second episode, but I'm really enjoying making this video. Uh, yeah, it's going pretty well. Cause I like try to get this off my chest as best as I can without putting too much information out there and overloading each episode. So, hopefully the sound quality is better. I didn't change anything, but take it off my head. Um, Still trying to get used to looking at a freaking camera, which is like looking at jaw, I suppose. I don't know. Next episode, I don't know when it'll be out. I'm gonna have to edit this one because it's in two parts, so I'm gonna have to squish them together somehow and edit out some of the bad stuff. Maybe I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not trying to edit things with these video blogs because I want it to be raw and unfiltered. Um, so the information to be out there without losing some uh, realism, right? I suppose. Anyways, all of these are not just going to be about ideas and concepts. You know, some of them are going to, be about feelings, maybe. I don't know. A couple of, you know, my day to day. Usually, it's just me thinking about stuff. But yeah, I think I'd do my more day to day stuff as far as a live cast versus a recorded, because I'll be able to shoot from the hip on a live cast, you know, and not have something to think about recording. So yeah, uh, episode 2. Hey, yay, everybody. Um, this is Demon Slayer. 2199. Just in case if you didn't miss it. If you are not watching this, you should get other people to watch it. I suppose if you want, maybe I don't know. Maybe subscribe if you feel like it, maybe. Notifications, because I post randomly. I'm not very structured yet as far as the posting and stuff like that, but I am trying to get better at it. Episode 2, everybody. Hey. Um, Let me know what y'all think, if anything, um, about stuff. I don't, yeah. Uh, Y'all have a. Today is what day? Today's Monday night. Y'all have a fun something or other. I don't know. Happy Hanukkah, Christmas. I don't know. Winter solstice, right? Is that right? Solstice. Anyway, have a good one, everybody, and see you on the third episode.